Hey friends, welcome back to episode number 2 of Shippy and Grubes. It's me, Shippy, alongside my good friend Grubes.
Hi.
We got a lot to get into today. We've got a former Maverick who's still profiting off of Luka Doncic. We may have had somebody have diarrhea at Cowboys practice. We'll dive into that a little bit later. And then we got some wholesome content for you as well at the very end of the show. But first, we've got to get into some breaking news, Grubes.
What?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Okay.
Talk to me.
If you're a sports fan, which I hope you are, I think a lot of people out there like sports.
I like sports.
Do you like sports?
Yeah.
I like sports too. That's good. All right, we're off to a good start. Well, I've got some great news for you. If you want to bring back your childhood feels, Backyard Sports, the video game, is it's returning.
Oh my God.
It is coming back after 10 years, and I grew up on this. I don't know about you, Grubes. I don't know if you ever got into it. They did all sorts of things. They did basketball, football. Those, I think, were the two most popular. They did hockey. I think maybe volleyball. Like, they did all of the sports. And it was like, you just had this like kind of ragtag crew of kids, and you just picked the kids. You had Pablo Sanchez. He was like the Babe Ruth of the group. Mm-hmm. I think his name was Pete Wheeler. At the time, he was in a wheelchair, but he was the fastest dude. Like, he was super fast. He was always on my team. But yeah, Backyard Sports is returning, and just to prove it, I have this short clip that I would like to play for you now. The nostalgia. Backyardsports.com.
Nice.
I mean, dude, when I found this out, like, the NCAA football game coming back was a big deal to me, even though I haven't got it yet. I really don't have time for video games these days, but like that coming back after like I believe a 10-year hiatus as well, and it's been killing it in terms of sales and stuff. This was about as good as it gets, and like if you played it before. Like I mentioned before, you just have a bunch of kids, and they're all good at different stuff. And eventually, they even made like kid versions of professional players that they brought in.
Nice.
And so, yeah, when I saw this news today, I knew we were recording. I knew exactly what we had to lead the show off with. And I think about it, it's like I'm excited for all the kids right now and their parents, because they're probably my age or your age, like
right.
in our range of ages, Like, they were probably around then, and I guarantee you a good majority of them played it. So they're probably, if they like video games and stuff, they're probably going to steer their kids like, hey, you should try this Backyard Sports game out. Like, I remember staying up and playing it on my computer at home all the time.
Nice. Yeah, like, I never actually played it. I was always aware of it. I knew of Pablo Sanchez, but just seeing the number of my friends around our age group that are freaking out about this has been really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's for good reason too. Like, people say iconic too often. They say this is iconic. He's the GOAT, she's the GOAT, blah, like everybody throws around. This is actually iconic. So welcome back, Backyard Sports. And an interesting little tidbit they had here. Travis and Jason Kelsey actually reached out on their podcast at some point, or they were talking on their podcast, at some point about like, hey, does anybody have the rights to this? So they kind of like were at the forefront, I think, of bringing it back.
So we have to give them credit for this?
No, they get enough credit for everything
Fair
else.
enough.
They're both killing it. So we will take credit for reporting this news to you. You're welcome,
right.
America.
You're welcome.
Are you ready for some quarterback drama that doesn't have to deal with our Dallas Cowboys?
Please.
And I say our, like, assuming you're a Cowboys fan. If you're not, it's okay. We understand. It's probably better that way. You're probably mentally better. We're going to go over to the AFC East, where Tua, I don't know how to say it, Tagovailoa?
Something like that?
Yeah. I was watching.
Somehow there's an N in the in his last name.
Yeah, which is crazy because when I look at it, I don't see an N unless the N is silent.
It might be.
It might be, but I
so silent it's not there.
Yeah. Wow. So he used to play. He used to be his head coach used to be Brian Flores, who of course comes from the Bill Belichick coaching tree. Mm-hmm. He's now the defensive coordinator in Minnesota. And in an interview with the Dan Le Batard show with Stugotz, he was asked how playing for Mike McDaniel has differed from what he experienced with Flores. And he did not hold back. He said, to put it in simplest terms, if you woke up every morning and I told you you suck at what you did, that you don't belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you're the best fit for this, you are accurate, you are the best whatever, you are this, you are that, how would it make you feel listening to one or the other? Which,
damn,
that's crazy. Like,
yeah.
And I saw some other clips where it basically said that Flores would text Tua the night before a game and be like, hey, don't screw this up.
Like, what good does that do? Why would a coach even say that? And, like, everything I thought I'd kind of heard about Brian Flores, that he seems to be a pretty decent dude and all that. And, you know, to turn out to be a guy that's just super negative, especially with your star, maybe not star, but your quarterback, your number one. I just don't get that. And I know a lot of coaches will do that where they think that, you know, it's kind of always been that way. You yell at your players, you make sure that they know that screwing up is the worst thing that you could do. And, you know, you make one mistake, you're off the team and all that. But it's like, why?
Yeah.
What good does that actually do? And especially, you know, maybe it's a kids these days type of thing. But especially nowadays, like, players are getting enough negative feedback as it is through social media and all that. Like, you basically can't avoid it. And then have your coach, who's supposed to have your back to at least some extent, you know, and maybe Brian Flores is the type of coach that's like, look, if I'm going down, you're going with me. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of crazy to find out that, you know, a coach can still say stuff like that or will still say stuff like that. But then for a player to call him out while he's still in the league, you know, the player and the coach.
Yeah.
It's maybe not unusual, but I feel like most of that would tend to happen when a player's retired and then they air their grievances and all that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, and like, so what I kind of gathered from it, what I think is like, because everything you said those are great points. Like,
thank you.
Because why would you? I mean, you already knew that it was just genius. But like, I mean, in any walk of life, whether you're the leader at a company, whether you're the head of your family, whether you're whatever you are, if you're leading. And you're leading like through that negativity, like just off the bat, right? Like you're just, hey, don't screw it up today. You know, try not, you know, like you're already expecting failure,
right?
You know, it's like that's what you're counting on, or you're already like you're planning in his mind the night before the game. When remember, he's preparing for 16 different teams on a week-to-week basis. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a lot of information to take in, a lot of different defenses you got to learn, coverages you got to learn, players, personnel that you got to learn. And then for your coach, like, you're getting ready to go to bed, and, like, you know, bing, you reach over, and you go, oh, hey, look, coach texted me. I wonder, hey, try not to suck or something. You know, you're like...
I've heard that before.
You know, you see that, and you're like... Damn, thanks, coach. Like,
right,
now
like,
I'm going to go to bed like, oh, my own coach doesn't even believe in me.
Yeah, awesome. Like, you know, I know some coaches have to show that they're the authority, and they think that, you know, every coach, I think, wants to be Bill Belichick. Mm-hmm. And even Bill Belichick lost his fastball at some point, where it's just kind of like, you can only be the angry guy, the angry coach for so long before it falls on deaf ears. I think that's why, you know, most teams, when they make a coaching change, they go... you know, from the disciplinarian or the dictator, basically, to the guy that's the player's coach and vice versa.
Yeah.
It doesn't tend to be, you know, disciplinarian to disciplinarian or player's coach to player's coach. So some of it might just be, you know, hey, we always got to have a new voice, but I just don't understand how that can be effective over the long run. If you're a coach, ideally, you're probably hoping to stay with whatever team you're coaching for as long as possible. You know, you want to be the Bill Belichick to an extent that is there for 25 years. But, yeah, I'm fascinated by the leader, and that's what they're supposed to be, is your leader, just from the jump saying, I don't have faith in you. And, maybe the coach was never on board with getting Tua in the first place. But still, like,
it's your quarterback.
Your employment rides on your quarterback winning. So why say, hey, I think you're a loser and I hate you.
Yeah.
But I also don't have a better choice than you, so I have to deal with it. And now we're both probably going to be off the team.
And my college coach was like that.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yes,
What's their
straight
name?
up. I can't tell you his name.
Trying for controversy.
Yeah, but no, he was a very much a mentally tough was what he called himself. He like wanted to train your mental toughness, but in reality, it was just a mind fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and like the thing is, I think that these coaches that have coached under Belichick, they've watched him do this probably to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady, it motivated him. And look, it turned out great. He turned into one of the best, or the best quarterback of all time.
Yeah, 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah. And so then these guys leave and they're like, well, I saw how he did it. But they walk in with no skins, just their skins being the ones that they kind of like got off of Bill Belichick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they walk in, And who knows? Like maybe now that he's a defensive coordinator with the Vikings, maybe he's grown. And now he's not worried about the offense at all. Actually, so maybe that's kind of like stay in your lane type thing. And maybe being a defensive-minded head coach, maybe that's where he struggled to find some common ground.
Yeah, probably never had to really care about the offensive players. I don't know his full coaching background, but if he's mostly been
can't
a
believe you don't know
defensive
that.
guy, I'm sorry. I'll do my research next time. But yeah, like I can see where, to an extent, he's probably less concerned with the offense just overall because defense is a specialty. There's probably another coach, the offensive coordinator, that's handling more of that stuff. But still, the head coach is the head coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't have the credibility of Belichick, and look, Belichick didn't have the credibility of Belichick till he got further on in the league and, got through his first couple years with the Patriots, even after coming from the Browns, Jets, Giants, and all that.
Yeah.
Like, he was always known as a defensive genius, but as a head coach, he hadn't really done much. It didn't mean he wasn't capable of it. And who knows, maybe Brian Flores will turn out to be a great head coach next time he gets a chance. But when you don't have that credibility and all you're doing is, throwing all your players under the bus and all that, it's just, what good does any of that do?
Yeah, and I think it would have been great if Tua would have started texting him the night before the game and been like, hey, coach, don't screw this up.
Yeah.
Your play calling last game or your leadership was awful.
Yeah.
We almost won it, but you really let us down. Like, to kind of flip the script. I saw another clip, too, that was talking about, I guess Brian Flores would mention, like, we want Deshaun Watson here. Like, we want this guy. We want this guy instead of you. Like, he was throwing out actual guys. And I think that was during the time where Watson was going through his whole thing with the massages and stuff. And stuff. But so he's literally like, hey, I'll take the dude that's the creepy guy that isn't going to play in like a year. Like,
right. I'll take my chances with him, even though he's can't play with us.
Yeah, like even though you're available right now, I'll take the guy that's suspended and has tons of red flags.
God.
Over you, our starting quarterback that we're hopefully that they ended up locking up for a long time.
So sorry, did Flores actually say that publicly about
No,
Watson,
I saw
or
it.
He just said it to Tua at some point and it came out in the media or
So
something
I saw this in a clip. It was like a 5-minute clip from an ESPN show. It was Ryan Clark, Matt Hasselbeck, and Matt Hasselbeck was the one that went on ESPN and was saying that he was throwing out these names that he wanted over Tua.
Good Lord.
So, yeah, crazy stuff in Miami there. But I'm glad that Tua now has a head coach who, wears cool sneakers and makes funny jokes on the sidelines.
Probably smokes pot.
And just an all around like good vibes guy. We like that here. We love that here.
We like vibes.
Bad vibes are when you get a tummy ache at practice.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm not exactly sure if that's what happened, but Mozzie Smith,
I believe.
he had a health scare at practice, and he said he had an allergic reaction because of something in the milk he drank.
Oh.
And so Clarence Hill reported of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram that it was a peanut allergy, which I don't know how many peanuts are in milk unless you're drinking almond milk.
You can probably milk a peanut, but you wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to.
Any nut.
Oh.
Wow.
Ashley, the expert here.
You're fucking hilarious.
So this allergic reaction. Oh God, I just had one myself.
That might have been it.
All right, guys, I gotta go. It's been fun. Thank you. We'll see. No.
That was live audio from Mozzie.
Yep. That began right away as the Cowboys boarded their bus to head to the airport to catch their charter to Las Vegas. Smith went to the Cowboys medical staff, who rushed him to a local hospital. He said he had allergic reactions previously, and then he said, this is to John Machota of The Athletic, "I'm a big guy. I eat a lot of food. I know the ropes when it comes to having an allergic reaction. You can't panic."
Well, that's good advice, but does he know all the foods that he's allergic to at this point?
It doesn't sound like it.
He just says, hey, YOLO, and then eats whatever he wants.
He just eats all of it. He's like, God, I keep having these allergic reactions.
Right. Consequences be damned.
I don't understand which thing I'm allergic to. No, I just think it's funny, like the idea of him getting on the bus and he just starts ripping farts. And then like the team is like, the rest of the defensive line is like, yo, who is it? And they're all looking like, because they don't know,
Right.
God, I would not want to smell any of that. But they're probably looking around trying to figure it out. And Maz's like, all right, somebody get the trainer. Like, I got to get out of here. Like, I need to be rushed to being rushed to a hospital is what's crazy to me.
I was going to say, if your allergic reaction is that bad, I just can't. I understand that sometimes, peanuts can get, can kind of sneak their way into different foods. If you're out like a restaurant or whatever, but should at least have a decent idea, I would think, by the age that he's at to kind of know, hey, I should probably stay away from this.
So I'm actually allergic to something and I don't know what it is, but it's why I don't go to Breadwinners anymore.
Oh.
Because I had Breadwinners.
Hey, what did you have?
I don't know. So this was back when I first graduated from college and I was working in radio at the Fan. And I was like up there on a Saturday. We had just got the Rangers on the station and I was teaching everybody how to run the Rangers radio network or how to run the board on the weekend, like set everything up, which faders are what, how to run the commercials, all that stuff. Like I was doing this. Well, my sweet mother, I forget what happened, but she had dropped off like a little care package of stuff from Breadwinners to me at the station. Oh. Like she had just been by. She's like, hey, let me drop some off for you. So there was a bunch of little treats in there. I was like, oh, cool. So like I started eating one of them as like a cookie or something, delicious. Then I started eating something else, delicious. Then I ate this thing that I think had, is it apricot or apricot?
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 Apricot.
Apricot?
I don't know.
Does anybody know?
It doesn't feel like a real word anymore.
It's like tomato or potato.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Okay, I'm going to say apricot.
We'll go with that.
So I think it had apricot in it because I ate this thing and it was delicious. I liked it. But then I started teaching these guys how to run the network. And like, I just feel my skin like getting all hot, like my face. And then I had all these like rashes on my arms.
Oh, you broke out into hives?
I broke out into hives. And then my forehead, I'm not kidding, it felt like it was being stretched. Like, I felt like my forehead was about to pop. Dude. And I'm like teaching them and I'm feeling this. And I'm like, God, I don't know if I'm okay. So I'm still going like, yeah, this is where you play the commercials and make sure the ISDN line is up and make sure that you hit the ID at the time. And they go, hey, are you okay? And I said, what do you mean? They said, you are bright red. I said, honestly, I'm not okay. They said, you can go. Like I ran to the Exxon next door. I had to go in there and I bought like some Benadryl or something. I popped 2 of those. And then came back in. Somebody else there was able to like pick up for me while I ran across the street.
Good Lord.
But so I do understand now that I think about it. I do relate to Mozzie Smith not knowing exactly what he's allergic to.
Fair enough.
So maybe you should just avoid milk. Like I avoid Breadwinners.
Yeah.
I mean, mine was eggs. Like at 26, all of a sudden was allergic to eggs.
Eggs?
Yeah, it's the worst because I love breakfast.
Yeah, I would not be okay if I was allergic to eggs.
It's terrible. Awful.
That would not go well with me. Yeah. So we mentioned before that there's a former Dallas Maverick who's currently still profiting off of Luka Doncic. And so I want to ask you if you guys remember a guy named Grant Williams.
I've heard of him.
He was here for like 2 weeks.
God, he was gone quick.
He was gone really quick, and it started to make sense later why he was gone. I got to meet him when we did the Abu Dhabi trip. Like he was one of, I mean, there's certain players that are like real outgoing, and some players kind of the state of themselves. But he like came up to us and was like, "Hey, so excited to be here!" Like shook everybody's hand. I was like, "Oh, what a great guy." So I've never had anything bad to say about him. Well, he got traded to the Hornets, in the deal that brought PJ Washington here. And after that, it kind of came out that maybe the teammates didn't really like him as much. He talked a lot, like, which I
Yeah.
could see that. I mean, he talked to me a lot, and it was only like 30 seconds. I was
You're
like,
kind
wow.
of already like, okay, can I get out of here? Like,
yeah, I
how
was
do
like, this is
how do I
weird.
get out of this conversation?
I'm like, you are really like it's rare to find a really not rare, sorry, but there's not a lot of athletes are like they know they're athletes. Like it's not worth my time, or they're
Yeah.
kind of short. Like
Kind of like, don't look me in the eye type of thing.
Yeah, just kind of like, hey, like they'll shake your hand, but then it's like real quick. Well, this guy will ask you your whole life story, and that's just how he was. Like, and that's how everybody talked about him. But so he just recently got into like card collecting. And when I say just recently, like this is the first time he's ever bought cards.
Oh, wow.
So he's in the, let's see, he bought a box of 2018, 2019 Panini National Treasures for $10,500. The set is considered the most valuable out there for modern day cards. And basically, when he picked this card, he got like a Jason Tatum. I forgot the other one. There was a Jason Tatum in there. So it's already like, things are going pretty well. Well, he pulled out a Luka Doncic card worth at least $100,000.
Good Lord.
This is his first ever like pull, I guess is what they call it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is the first time he's ever gotten into this. And he pulls a Luka Doncic $100,000 card. And he said that someone's offered him $300,000 already before he even got it graded. Another person offered $250K, and another offered $500K.
Jeez.
So
Think he's going to keep it?
no, he's gonna get. So he actually said that he's holding off from taking any of the offers from any of these guys because he's gonna let Luca have the first right, right of first refusal. So he's gonna offer it to Luca, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like see, he's a good guy. Like I'm telling you, he's a good guy. He's just, maybe not the guy you want on a team that you want to win a lot. You know,
My understanding is he seems to be a good guy, but he also is maybe a bit of a dork, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
that just maybe doesn't totally always know or realize, some of the trash he's talking or whatever he's saying just maybe isn't quite the source. He's maybe not the source that it should be coming from.
Exactly. That's very well stated.
Thank you.
So, and he said that he thinks that Doncic would buy this for like $1 million,
Hey,
which he's got
gotta
a
take a
lot
shot.
of millions. So,
Yeah.
like, what's 1 million to him, But yeah, so those who open a 10-card box of national treasures like that, they're usually considered lucky just to get their money back.
Man.
And this dude pulled on his first one ever a $100,000 Luka Doncic card, and it does mention here, like that the Mavericks were fed up with his constant yapping, because there was the story of practice, which is what makes this all so great. Like, I guess one day in practice, Grant Williams felt like Luka Doncic didn't bring it, which I'm not really sure. Like,
Not sure that he needs to necessarily.
he's Luka.
Yeah. He kind of
Luka
figures it out.
Luka at 50% effort is better than like 95% of the league. Like,
Yeah.
So basically, I don't know if just in case you haven't heard this story, there was a practice, and this is from Michael Finley, which is a pretty good source. So he said that he wanted to get under Luka's skin, that he didn't come ready to practice that day. So they had a scrimmage going, and he's talking trash to Luka up and down the court. Finally, Luka says, okay. And Luka went on a 26-6 run by himself. 26-6 run by himself. He said he showed everything. The threes, the post up, the floaters, everything by himself.
Good Lord.
So, but hey, now Grant Williams is with the Hornets, which probably kind of sucks, but he just got a really, really valuable sports card. So
Serendipity.
So there's a little Grant Williams update for you and for all the card collectors out there.
We'll have another one next week.
No? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if maybe he can force himself back in the news again.
There you go.
Let's see. We talked about Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce a minute ago, and I wanted to bring this to your attention because Jason Kelce, since retired, his wife has basically enforced a new rule. And so I'm going to go ahead and play the video for y'all, and then we can kind of discuss after.
Can you share the Kylie rule? Is that okay about exercise?
Yeah, so, I mean, she just implemented this, but she said I have to work out a minimum of 3 days a week. Otherwise, she doesn't want to deal with me.
It's so true, man. Like, I don't know if you guys notice this. Like, you just got out. You've been out a couple years. I feel like part of why guys struggle is not just because of, like, missing football, but it's also, like, we're accustomed to a certain amount of physical activity. For your dopamine, for how you feel when you wake up in the morning, like, everything. Yeah. We don't feel right unless we work out. And that for me, if I don't work out, I'm like tough to deal with.
Same, yeah, and that's why she's implemented this rule.
Yeah.
And when I've worked out, I am in a great mood. I interact well at home with my kids and everybody. Like I just am a better person.
Yeah.
When I don't work out, I think part of it, like you're saying, is like you feel like you're not really being productive for the day. Like you're missing something.
You're almost mad at yourself. You become mad at everybody.
Yes, and all day you're like, when do I get it in? When do I get it in?
Yeah.
I'm never getting it in.
You just have to get out and get it in. Can you share the Kylie rule? Is that
Yeah, so his wife, Kylie Kelce, has implemented a rule that he's got to work out 3 times a week. Have you had any rules like that implemented on you? Like, we're both in relationships. Like, I can't think of really any on my end other than just what not to do.
Right, and there's plenty of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of what not to do, but there's nothing like. But I think this is smart because he's got a good point. Like, I'm sure once you're done playing professional sports, like you probably still need that structure in your life and that feeling of like you're getting better or you're at least staying fit.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what his schedule looked like, as a player, but I would imagine just being an NFL player, you're going to be out of the house a fair amount. You're dedicated to that job because you don't have a whole lot of choice.
Yeah.
Just that's what it takes to be an NFL player, I would imagine. And so, his wife probably never had to think like, God, he's around a lot now. Like, but once he retires, I know he's going to be doing, was it the NFL Sunday?
Yeah.
One of the NFL shows during the football season. But, he's, I think, still doing his podcast, with his brother. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, he's probably not doing a ton right now, especially it's his first off season as a retired player, right?
Right.
And so, like his wife probably wants to make sure that he doesn't just fall into being party Jason all the time.
The guy shirt off in the stands.
Yeah. And so it's probably trying to kind of ride that line of like, she knows that Jason's probably going to go out. He's going to party. He's going to, be himself. But, maybe she worries that he has a lazy streak or something. And so she's like, okay, let's nip this in the bud before anything happens and just, you got to get out of the house and work out 3 days a week.
And it sounds like it's like for his sanity too, know? And like
it's good for him. Like it sounds like, he interacts with his family, his kids, it
just puts him in a good mood. Like,
yeah.
And I was thinking like, if there was anything for me that would kind of be equivalent to that would be maybe like playing video games, but those can be really frustrating. So I could be in a bad mood depending on how it goes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't think. Do you have anything that would, that would be like your peace of mind the same way that it is for him? Like playing the guitar 3 times a week, or
I was gonna say it's probably stuff
playing
that I should
fart
be,
drops.
Yeah, I was gonna say keep the trigger finger ready with drops and everything. But no, like I do. I'm inconsistent as hell about it, but I try to, take a walk, a few times a week, or ideally every morning.
Yeah.
But, whether it's walking the dog or something, and now actually, having a dog, like I get out of my apartment at least, a few times a day, take my dog down to the dog park, and just, even if it's just sitting outside for a little bit, at least I'm getting some fresh air.
Yeah.
Because there were times, dude, like, especially the last few years before meeting Darcy and during the whole pandy time.
Yeah.
Like there was time where I was basically a shut-in for like a few days at a time almost. Like it was not good. And so like at least, moving around, like as I've heard, my doctor say or whatever, just move your body, just do something to get moving. And, my weight still fluctuates some, but like I'm at least, down, more than I'm up in terms of weight.
Yeah.
But it does help the mood. It does, help me feel like I'm doing something. And, like now the last, month or so having, a schedule where at least right now I'm quote unquote just working the podcasts that I do with you and then the ones that I do with Mike Reiner.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times where I have, a decent amount of time during the day. I'm hoping to start filling it with other stuff, but with other work. But, right now my schedule is pretty light. So it's like I need to make sure that I'm being productive, getting out of the house, doing something, and, trying to, find some reason to maybe get in my car and drive somewhere.
Yeah.
Just, because it really does make a difference. And, I think Darcy can tell when I have had a day that I'm out more than, just sitting at home, watching YouTube or whatever.
Right.
Or your dark companion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's not necessarily a rule that I have with Darcy, but she definitely is appreciative of when, I clearly have done more than just sat on my butt because, she's working, she's being productive and all that. And so it's kind of only fair that I, try to find ways to, if I'm not doing something for me, do it for others, like try to find something to do.
When I deal with the same thing once the off season hits.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the Mavs and the Star seasons are over and suddenly I have all this free time, like I go from literally all day, every other day with maybe one day mixed in. Like I'll have months where I'll have maybe 3 or 4 days in the whole month that are just off.
Yeah.
And so I just go all the time. And then when it all just comes to a sudden halt, like I do the same thing that you did where like I'll just sit in my apartment and I'll just watch TV, play video games. I'll sleep a whole lot. And it's like you do kind of fall into this like weird thing where you're just like it's not like depression, but it feels like it kind of like it's like a lull,
It's
you know?
adjacent. Yeah, like you feel like, okay, I've been so busy, I've earned this break. I should take a little time for myself and, like I don't think you're quite as introverted as I tend to be, but like
I'm pretty introverted.
I know that I can, my social battery can run low pretty quick if I'm out with people all the time.
Yeah.
Or, and having a job like I had and that you have now, working with the Stars and Mavs, especially where you're right in the middle of the crowd. People can come up to you at any given time. And, that's obviously, going into it, that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. But, there are going to be times where you're just like, man, I'm kind of ready to just be alone for a little while. But then it becomes that cycle on the other side of it of, oh God, I haven't done anything for 3 days.
Yep.
So was that really productive? Was, I've got time off and that's good, but I wasted it essentially.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and that's what happens to me is it's like, I'll be good with like 1, maybe 2 days off. Cause like when the playoffs end, you can't book yourself for anything else for those next 2 weeks or maybe month because you don't know when the last game is going to be. If both teams make the playoffs, hey, can you do this in a month? I don't know. Are the Mavs and the Stars going to win their playoff series? And once they win the series, the schedule is set like a day later, and then it's a whole new slate of work. And so it's typically like 2 weeks after that, unless somebody has an opening and reaches out to me, like a week to 2 weeks where I'm like, I don't have anything going on. And like for the first 2 days, it's glorious. Like I love it. I'm ordering Uber Eats, which does not help with the thing not getting out of the house. It makes it so easy. Like even just driving to go get your food, I feel like is better than just sitting, on your couch, just laid up watching, a documentary or something.
Yeah,
but
at least saving on fees too.
Yeah, exactly. But so that like the first 2 or 3 days, maybe it's great and I love it and I'm feeling refreshed. But then day 4, day 5, like I'm like, God, why am I not working? Why am I not working? Like what? I should be doing something right now. Like, I'm not making any money. I'm still waiting on money to come in. Where's my money going to come from now that the seasons are over? Like, because all the other DJs are getting booked all the time throughout the year, and I don't do like a lot of club stuff during the season just because I'm so busy and it doesn't.
You're already working nights.
Yeah, and like, why work a game from 3 or 4 p.m. till 10 or 10:30 and then go DJ from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Like.
Yeah.
I did that my first season of doing stars.
I remember.
But that was because I was trying to learn and like trying to make a name for myself DJing in nightclubs and bars in Dallas and get that experience. And so now I'm able to take off from that once the season starts. But yeah, I mean, I feel what, Jason Kelsey and then we're talking about, where it's just like you get so used to doing something over and over and over again where, once it's like you finally have this free schedule, you're just kind of like, so now what? Like, how do I fill my time?
Yeah, not to get too existential, but it definitely can be, at least for me, having that schedule, in different ways, either from working Stars and Mavs for the one season that I was with both, or Stars and Bally, where, that all revolves around games too. Like, I definitely have had months where I had 1 or 2 days off the whole time, but then I would get to the summer and pretty much everything dried up for a few months, where I was just doing like my Frisco Rough Riders Ambassador of Fun gig. That was like every other Thursday for a few months. So there were times where that was literally the only work I had, which sounds awesome, but then that's a lot of time to spend either, for me, a lot of it was spent by myself just because, I'm doing nothing while my friends are working. I can't go hang out with them during the day.
Right.
And then, or, maybe they got stuff to do at night with their families. And so I'm just alone. And, like I said, to get existential, you start kind of questioning your worth or whatever, where it's like, what am I doing? Like, am I doing enough? And, you try to think, okay, well, once the season hits again, I'm back to, being productive. I'm working just about every day and, call it work, quote unquote. But it still definitely can mess with you when you have that much time off. And I'm definitely, cognizant of now where there are days where, I'm quote unquote working 3 days a week and, it's generally for a few hours at a time.
Yeah.
So, whether it's either for, my mental health or for my financial health, trying to fill in more of that time working or being productive in some other way, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, and even going back for me personally, like to high school, doing drumline where you have that same kind of regimented schedule, like you're up early, you're staying after school, there's not a lot of time to do your homework or socialize or anything. Like you're so busy during that fall semester. My grades during the fall semester would be like A's. I get A's, and then spring semester would roll around where I didn't have drumline anymore every morning, and I didn't have as much going on, and I was kind of relaxing and chilling. My grades would fall off every time at that point. And my mom pointed it out to me. Both my parents did. They're like you do so great when you're busy, and then when drumline's over and you've got just school and like maybe just a couple of percussion rehearsals once a week or whatever. Your grades just totally fall off and we just see a lack, you just lose your focus. So I think I'm one of those people that has to be in that like go, go, go mode.
The hustle mode.
Yeah. And DJing, that's what it is, right? It's not full-time work. You don't, I'm a contractor with both the Mavericks and the Stars. There's no benefits. All the money that I make is for I go out and get those gigs outside of the Stars and the Mavs, I go and I shake some hands and tell them, I've DJ'd here. I'd love to come fill in sometime at your club or your bar. So yeah, I'm not complaining at all. It's fun. I love what I do, but
of course.
it's you don't see a lot of those, you don't see that side of things, from whatever it is you're doing or wherever you're listening or wherever you see it. If you see it on Instagram or Twitter, just know, just everything else, there are tough parts of it as well.
Yeah, and I think that's true with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Overall, of your social media is always going to be pretty much the highlights of your life.
Right.
On whatever timeline you prefer to keep it.
Yeah.
You're generally not going to say, Yeah, that my day sucked. Well, there are definitely some people that do that, but
Yeah.
generally, I think someone like you, you're gonna post about, the cool gigs and the, people you get to meet and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still gonna be a down moment or two, or hopefully not too many more than that.
Nah.
But, yeah, it's just kind of the ebbs and flows of life. But I do like that. Yeah, Jason Kelsey's wife maybe is getting kind of proactive of just saying like, okay, I'm not letting you sink into a hole. I'm not letting you, isolate or, I don't know what his tendencies might be when he's not busy, because he's probably been busy, since at least high school, being one of the best players on every team that he's played for, and also seemingly the life of the party, everywhere he is. So, just kind of see how it shakes out for him.
Yeah, and I think it's good too because you think about in football the CTE and all the players are not shy about like the mental toll that it takes playing the sport. So for her to be like, "Hey, you have to do this," and it's work out 3 times a week. Like he's probably been working out 7 times a week his whole life, out since he was in diapers. So
yeah, so easy money.
Easy. So good on her for looking out for her husband and making sure that he's good even post career.
There you go. We're proud of you, Jason.
We're proud of you. I don't know if we're proud of the New York Mets. It has nothing to do with their record or Mr. and Mrs. Met are kind of cool but kind of weird. It has more to do with who they decided to have throw out the first pitch at a recent game. Her name is Haley Welch. Does that ring a bell?
There you go.
Haley, she's not the grape juice or anything like that. No, she is Hawk to a girl, and I have video here of her throwing out the first pitch at a Mets game. Okay. So, like, my question is, like, are we running out of people to do first pitches and ceremonial puck drops? And I don't know what the NBA
You need to
equivalent.
remember this is the Mets. It's not the Yankees. It's the Mets.
That's true.
They
they've
pull
gotten
this shit all the time.
Yeah, like in theory, they've kind of gotten a little bit more professional since was it that Steve Cohen took over as owner? Like the Wilpons, I know, were a mess. They got involved in that Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme and all that. But yeah, bringing in the Hawk-Tua girl, like, kind of, I think you were saying, like, how do you, if you're a parent, how do you explain that to your kids? Why is this girl doing this?
Yeah, who is she?
Yeah,
Mommy?
And it's just such a weird thing. Like, I think first pitches and stuff do tend to be sponsored and all that, so you're usually going to try to find someone of some note, but like I haven't been able to find, like, I don't know if she just happened to be there that day or if they invited her in to throw the first pitch, like they flew her in or something. But regardless, like, there's other people that could have thrown that first pitch. They probably, they got Todd Zeal, former player of theirs, does, some of their broadcasts. Like, they couldn't bring him in if they couldn't find anyone besides Hawk-Tua girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a weird thing.
I just, I like when I think of somebody throwing out a first pitch, I think of like like a veteran or like, I don't know, something a little bit more like family friendly. And then like baseball is like probably the most family friendly sport of all the sports, right? Like
it's got the most tradition, and like it's definitely trying to work its way into the 21st century a lot more the last few years. Like I know, every team, including the Rangers, is kind of going with, a different vibe, kind of going for a vibe.
Yeah.
Rather than, kind of more traditional and all that. And so, you're going to try to bring in, people that kids might have heard of and stuff like that. Like the best example, I think, when we were talking in our show prep earlier is like, the Rangers brought in this kid, Preston Plays. He does like video game playthroughs on YouTube, but like all the kids love him. Like I made sure that Granger got a hat, from the day that he did that, my girlfriend's son, and just, stuff like that where, bringing in influencer types can, it obviously makes sense, but when it's a TikTok 15 minutes of fame already up person that, is known for spitting on special purposes.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Like, how do you introduce her?
So
you just like,
I'm glad you asked, because this is from Tim Healy, a Mets beat writer. He said the Hawk Tua girl threw out the first pitch at the Mets game for some reason. They introduced her as a, quote, viral sensation.
okay, I figured it was going to be I figured it was something like that, but
But here's my thing is, don't call her a viral sensation. Just call her Haley Welch. And then that way you're not begging for questions like, oh, if somebody didn't know, you're saying, what you go viral for? Oh, let me Google it. And then it's like you find the Hawk Tua video.
Like, you can't win.
No.
Like, okay, yeah, we say her name, and so people still Google her, but you can't say the Hawk Tua girl.
Right.
It's just such a weird thing.
And
sorry. Go ahead.
No, and he actually just had one update. He said update, I am not allowed to mention in Newsday who threw out the first pitch for the Mets today.
Yeah.
So, like, his employer was like, yo, no. Like,
let's just pretend this didn't happen.
Yeah, we're just going to avoid this. We're not going to, we're not going to encourage any more backlash, because apparently they got a lot of backlash from different fans and things like that. So, interesting strategy there from the New York Mets.
Indeed. And by the way, speaking of the Mets, I do have a text in to myself.
Okay.
From legendary reporter Mike Reiner.
No, hey.
And he has a question. How about a Mr. and Mrs. Met porn show?
Maybe that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they had their viral sensation come throughout the first pitch.
There's some flagrante delicto.
Yeah, I just saw that she just met Sketch the other day too, the video game guy. If you look it up, he's this video game guy who plays Madden, and like he's a character, and he's just real weird. But they met, and it was like the most awkward 30 or 45 seconds I think I've ever seen in my life. Another awkward 30 or 45 seconds potentially could be a kiss cam. Could you imagine being at a game and being thrown up on the Jumbotron? That was always my biggest fear. Like, you go to the game with your sister, and like mostly they look for people with their arm around them or something. They don't, they won't just find just two people that are just sitting there next to each other. They look for obvious signs. But that was always my biggest fear. Like, going with like a friend who's a girl, and it's like, we're not like that. We're seriously just friends. Like, I promise.
And then you get booed by 20,000 people.
And then they're booing you. Well, this happened at a Rams game, this kiss cam, and I'm not really sure what was going on here. Not the nachos. Oh, he's pissed. He's so mad. So that happened, and I guess there's been some debate about like the legitimacy of it.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a bit.
It's a bit.
We've worked with especially the Stars, who are pretty much masters of setting up the fake Jumbotron bit or the fake center hung bit.
Yeah.
Where, that's almost definitely a bit, but it still gets a reaction. It still, has people paying attention and, getting into it and laughing. And if it's well executed, then, what's the harm?
Right.
But it is a funny thing, that's pretty much the only time really the kiss cams happen anymore. Which is fine. It's not a big deal either way, but it's pretty much at the point where if you see a kiss cam happening now, like, it's pretty much a joke in some way.
Yeah, and we still do the kiss cam at Mavs and Stars games every once in a while, and there's no bit planned, and like stuff will happen like this. And actually, we had this kind of thing happen at a Mavericks game, I think 2 seasons ago now, and it was right in front of me where I sit, and so like there was like this. The cameraman came up to me and was like, "Hey, we got like a proposal coming up for the kiss cam, yada yada." They're going down to get the shot ready, like, to have the RF there right up close on them and everything. They're going to say yes, kiss, all that good stuff. I had the track ready to play for when she said yes. And so they go down, they get ready, and then they put him up on the kiss cam. And basically what you just saw there happen, he gets out into the aisle, he gets on one knee, proposes, and the girl's like, no, like freaks out and then sprints up the stairs, runs to the right, and runs out. And the guy's just sitting there like, and everybody on headset's like, cut, go.
No, like it was real.
So it was real. Well, it wasn't real. We didn't plan it.
Oh,
It was not.
Gotcha. Okay.
The guy lost a fantasy football league, so he had to go. And the way we figured out is people, I guess, who saw it were commenting online because it went viral on Twitter, and some people were saying like, "Wait, they're not dating. Like, they're like they are friends or they know each other. Like, those are our friends. Like, they have other boyfriend, girlfriends, or whatever." So like, for that reason, the Stars don't do proposals at games at all. So if you want to do that, I'm sorry. Like, I can't.
Yeah, they'll cut the camera away. Or
I
whatever.
can't help you. Yeah, but the Mavericks have been doing it since I took over. Like, we'll have like 4 or 5 proposals probably a year.
Yeah, I think I did I was there for a couple of them when I,
That's stupid,
working
by
with
the
them
way.
or filling in.
Yeah.
If you asked me to marry you at a game, no, not happening. Never. Don't do it. Bad choice.
And regardless, you got to know that the answer is going to be yes if you're going to propose.
Right. And I did want to get into the whole sports game proposal thing, like, because it is kind of weird, like, to do it in front of a bunch of people like that. I mean, I guess it's cool, like, if you both love the team, right? Like,
Sure.
But I don't know. I feel like a lot of women, and it just, I've just heard this for forever. It's just like Ashley said, it's just no.
Yeah,
Like, you cannot do this. And, like, I guess it's just my man brain. I don't understand it. Like, I'm like, I don't know, like, if I was getting proposed to at a game, it'd be kind of cool, but I'm also a guy who loves sports, so.
Well, but the difference is, though, is that you look at it and you're like, oh, I love sports. Like, that's great. Let's do it. Okay, do I love sports, though?
Right, and I think that's where you've got to know your potential future spouse.
Yeah.
If she hates sports, then yeah, there's no way in hell. Like, I would assume if you're going to propose at a game, it's because, like, maybe your first date was a Mavericks game together or a Stars game, or maybe you just both really love those teams and never get to go see them, and it's your first time going and seeing them, or I don't know, like, I guess I've never thought of it that way just because of that, resounding no that I've heard.
But you better have my whole family there and all the other, like, hoopla that goes with it.
Yeah, like, if you're going to do that, you got to get, like, and this is going to cost a lot of money, but hey, marriage, relationships, they're expensive.
Indeed.
Like, they are very expensive. Let me just tell you. But, like, yeah, you've got to put their family, like, in a suite or something, or have them, like, because that would be my thing, is I'd be like, all right, we'll get the seats. I'll have them secretly in a suite. We'll propose here, then we're going to go up to the suite, and we're going to just have fun and enjoy the rest of the game.
Yeah, get like a follow-up later on or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just when it comes down to it, I don't want to generalize too much, but I don't think there's a whole lot of women, and probably not even a whole lot of men, that dream of being proposed to at a sports game.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a fun almost sportsy engagement story I'll tell y'all.
Give it to us.
Okay, so I have 2 friends. He for months was telling me, "Oh my gosh, Ashley." So I knew him before I knew her, but I'm better friends with her. So when he was asking her to marry him, he sent us oh, hey, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm like, oh, okay. I think that's okay. But, like, you need to call her family and tell her family that they need to be there, and you need to fly them. This man was rich too. So I was like, you need to fly her family out to get there. And he was like, well, I don't really feel like I have to. I'm like, yes, you have to. Like, you need to understand how this works.
Yeah.
So he won't tell me how he's actually going to ask her to marry him, though. I'm like, why won't you tell me? You're telling me everything else. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah, well, so they go to Vegas and go to a Trump rally.
Oh, no.
And he asked her at a Trump rally to marry him in front of, like, a room of people. And it's not even, like, a big Trump rally, but at a Trump rally.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing ever. And she was like, well, this is so right for us. And I was like, what a shite way to be asked to freaking marry me. You couldn't have taken me to, like, the Stratosphere, the top of it, or like the Paris Hotel or something. You took me to a Trump rally in Vegas.
Yeah, I don't think this is political to say this, but when I think romance, I don't think of Donald Trump. Is that fair?
It was
fair.
so
That's
awkward,
fair.
y'all.
And it's not like I'll turn my mic off right now if it was politics.
I figured.
It's not. My mic is. I'll keep it on.
Thank you.
And I agree with you. Like, I didn't think that there was a worse public place, I guess, like
Man.
than a sporting event. Like to propose, but that story definitely trumps it.
Ooh, we should make a list of where not to ask your future spouse to marry you at. Trump rally, sports game. I don't like busy parks either. Like when people go to Sundance Square and it's not planned and they get down on one knee. Yeah, no, I'm not about that life. Or like Clyde Warren Park without actually planning it.
Yeah.
Well, if you do propose and you say yes, you might want to take advice from this couple where they charge their wedding guests $333 each in effort to save money.
What?
Yeah. Let's see. They were charging their guests. They basically said, look, like, this is like a Beyonce show. Like, this is like you're going to an event. You're going to a spectacle. You're going to go see us get married. I think...
Did they have Beyonce there?
No, they did not.
Then no.
But hey, the $33 a piece earned guests a seat on their double-decker bus and a 12-hour adventure in New York City. So it's not just the wedding you're getting. You're also getting to explore. You're getting a 12-hour adventure. Like, so that kind of makes it more worth it, in my opinion.
That at least makes a little more sense. It's not just going to a wedding. There's stuff that goes along with it, but still, like, I don't think I would be able to charge my friends and Darcy's friends, assuming that happens.
Yeah.
I don't think we will be charging our guests to come, and even if we are planning activities or something, which I've not really heard of a whole lot of.
That's weird. I'm like, what adventure are you guys going on?
Like a non-destination wedding? Or maybe that's a destination wedding. If it's,
I'm not about destination. Like, unless you're paying for me to go somewhere or unless it's somewhere really nice, I don't do destination weddings anymore. I did one. I spent like $4,000 to be in this wedding. I was so done at the end of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for that either. And I think you're right. I think it's tough to charge your family and friends. I'm assuming they didn't charge their family. Hopefully
They
not.
probably did.
Hopefully not. It doesn't. I don't think it specifies here whether or not family were included in that. But
I mean, I respect the hustle. I respect it's what it says. It saved them like $70,000
$70K.
Yeah, but what was your wedding that cool, or what were you doing to need to charge them that?
I think it was just more of a thing like, hey, if you really want to go, you can pay, and it cuts down the list. Like, because that's my thing is like, how do you know who to invite? I'm like, well, I like all these people. I love all these people. Like,
You do.
Unfortunately, y'all aren't invited to my wedding.
Them and invite them. Like, I don't know. How do you choose?
You pick your
Roulette or
closest family and friends, and that's it. And you cut it at the knees.
Well, we're going to cut this episode at the knees.
Nice.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us here for episode number 2 of Shippy and Grubes. We will be back next week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward to episode 3 next week. And we love you.
Hell yeah.
Your Dark Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.